Hey, my friends, what's going on? Cater here on a beautiful day. What's going on with your lane? What's going on with your life? How you doing? How you feeling? What's up with you? So today in this video, guys, we're gonna be talking about assets over liabilities. Just like it says in my shirt here, assets over liabilities. Now that's a concept that you must understand as an entrepreneur. If you're building a business, you're trying to take yourself to the next level. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, that's a concept that you must understand, because the concept of asset over liability is a powerful one that sadly, if we grew up in a poor household, we don't get to learn about it until we reach adulthood, or sometimes we never even get to learn about it. Or the only way you learn about it if you dig yourself or you meet someone who knows about the concept and teach it to you. So our goal is, if we know this concept early, we can teach it to our children early, because that's one of my main goals. Like the stuff that it took me a long time to get to understand, I want to teach it to my kids way earlier so they can be more advanced. That's what the wealthy people do. They teach those people their behavior that enables them to win a lot faster. So you must understand that concept. First, let's talk about the definition of an asset and the definition of a liability. So an asset is something that brings you something in return on your investment, right? Asset brings you a return on investment. Liability is something that takes away from you. It brings nothing in return, or it brings worse, or it brings debt, or it brings, whatever it brings is not valuable to you, right? In return, that's a liability. Okay, now since you guys know the definition now of an asset and a liability, now you can make the difference. I want you to go ahead, if you're watching this video or whatever time you're watching it, take a list, right? Write down a list of things that you purchased in the last month, right? You want to know, are those things are assets or liability? Like those things that you bought, can they bring something back in return to you, more value, or can they not? Now, for example, we're gonna be talking about a little bit how I've been able to use. I'm gonna give you some game inside of this video. So if you're watching, I'm gonna give you some game. All right, I'm gonna give you some game. I'm gonna show you how I was able to use what is seen to a lot of people as a liability, as credit cards, but I'm able to turn them into asset by utilizing some of the games. So let's say, for example, like this water bottle here, right? I bought it. If I spend my money and buy this, it is useful, it's purposeful. I'm using it to drink some water, fuel up my body, right? Getting myself hydrated using that. But can this bring me anything back in return as far as income? More likely not. So if I take money and buy this, it's a liability. Now, if I go and purchase the bottle, as you see those people, they put good morning early in the morning, right? 7 a.m. in the morning, good morning. 9 o'clock in the morning, hydrate yourself. 11 o'clock, remember. So it was a plain bottle, but they customize it, they make it look cool, and then they sell it for a lot more money. Now that same bottle, like if I go buy 100 of them, for like $1,000, and I'm able to sell them for $2,000. Now they become an asset. So an asset always bring you something in return, okay? Something that's gonna bring something in return. So for example, credit card is a big one. There's some things you can actually use both. They can be both an asset and a liability at the same time. Credit card is a big one. Most people, when they think of credit card, they think of them as being a liability. Now, a credit can be both an asset and liability at the same time. Now, how can a credit be an asset? So for example, last weekend, I had the opportunity to travel to New York. Now, I have a friend of mine, right? I went to his house and he's playing the credit game. And I went to his house and I'm talking to him and he's like, yo, dude, I gotta buy $2 million, $1.4 million, going towards $2 million in credit on credit cards. I'm like, how are you able to do that? He's like, yeah, bro, I'm playing the credit game. So I learned a few strategy from him. And now, guess what? Your boy got the Amex Platinum. Now, this card is pretty powerful. In the wrong hands, this would be a liability. But with strategy, this is an asset. So over the weekend, I took a flight to New York. My cousin was graduating. So I'm gonna show you how I turned this into an asset, right? My cousin was graduating. My flight got delayed. I'm at the airport. Now, when you have an American Express card, right? They have lounges over 1,500 of them all over the world. So whenever you go to an airport, you can go to those lounges and you get free food, and you get to sit back, relax, get your computer, chill with a bunch of other people that's in there while you wait for your flight. So my flight got delayed, got in there, ate some food. Now, when you have an American Express card, the Amex card, right? Although this have a $695 yearly fee on it, but you can turn this into an asset. That $695, if you're someone that travels a lot, you can get 4 people in with you. So imagine if you have 4 people with you, like if you have 2 people with you, you can actually bring them in. If you guys was gonna eat, a plate at the airport is like $25, right? A plate at the airport is like $25, but it's like $75, like $100, right? $100 for the 3 of you. But if you bring them in, if you're someone that travels a lot, let's say you travel 10 times a year, that's like $1,000 you're already saving on just food at the airport. That's just one way you turn that into an asset, right? Another way you turn that into an asset, when I was fixing my credit. So now I got the American Express, I got the Amex Platinum, I got the Amex Gold. Now I'm building those assets. Now I'm gonna show you how to use those. I got the Navy Federal, I got another Chase business card, I got another Amex, and I'm just stacking on those because now I understand how to use them as assets. Although credit can be a liability, but I'm teaching you how this stuff can be an asset. Now, when I was trying to blow up my credit game, right, there's someone that has, where they give you what's called trade line, right? They make you an authorized user. When you have a credit card, they allow you to add someone on the card as an authorized user. Now, an authorized user is somebody like, whatever reports on the card, that also going to report on that person's credit. So if you keep a good credit history, right? If you have a card for 3 years, a year, 2, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years, it's gonna report on that person's credit. And what's gonna happen to that person's credit is gonna shoot it to another level, right? They can get like 40 points, 50 points. So when I was building my assets, right, which is credit, I told you credit can be an asset. I paid somebody $1,000 to put me on a credit as a trade line on a credit card that's been 27-year-old, right? 27-year-old. I haven't had credit for that long. So what that did, that shoot my credit to 800 when I got to, after I did that, but I paid that person $1,000. I'm like, oh, that's $1,000, right? Now imagine if you start stacking up yourself, you have those cards, and then let's say I have 6 cards in my hand, or there's 5 cards. I have 5 cards. Let's see on those 5 cards. Now, what you do on those 5 cards that I have here, let's say each one of them, you charge someone $500, right? To put them as a trade line user on your card, so they can get access. They can get access and build their credit. For whatever reason, they might need a trade line. If you have 5 credit cards, that's $2,500 a month without even having to count the points, the stuff, the benefits, the cards, just using your credit now as an asset, as a business. Just think about it. If you do that, you would have a business literally where you're making $2,500 a month just for having good credit. Now you can take that $2,500 and go buy if you want liabilities. Now, if you want things that's not gonna bring you any money back, then instead of buying it on a card, you turn that card into an asset. Then you can go buy those shoes, those Balenciaga shoes that you want. Then you can go buy those t-shirt, go Gucci, those other things that you want that's not gonna bring you any money back in return. Then you can go start buying liabilities, those things that does not create anything back in return. So when you learn that lesson, now you'll be able to take your credit and you turn it into an asset. We can literally start leveraging your credit now and then start making money out of it. So when I think about asset, anything that I have in my household, like I'm always thinking about assets first. Anytime I get money, I'm thinking about assets first. Anything that's not bringing you any money back is a liability. The only money that have hope of ever coming back is money invested, right? Anything that you spend, there's a big difference between spending and investing, right? You must learn this big difference. There's a big difference between spending and investing. Investing is when you put money into something, you have the hope of it coming back. It's gonna bring you back money, right? Spending is when you spend on something, on a car, on a clothes, right? Unless you're gonna put the car on two-row and build a business out of there, right? On even a house, unless you're gonna put the house for Airbnb or you're gonna rent it, it's gonna make you money every month. So that's an asset. Because sometimes people have the concept wrong. Like they might think, oh, me getting a house is an asset, but more likely it's, if you're living in it, it's a liability. It can be an asset in the long term, but not as you living into it, right? Unless you know some strategy to get money off of it, which is a little bit deeper. But understanding the concept of an asset, get comfortable with investing money instead of just spending money, because it's two different things. For example, if you take credit card and you go buy clothes, you go buy shoes, you stack it up on credit card, you go buy stuff with that. I remember back in the days, I was so dumbfounded of those understanding, like when school is getting started, like school's about to get started, I would just take my credit card that I get and go load up on go school shopping and buy clothes and buy books, whatever I was buying at that time. What then happened at the end of the year, like if I buy a pair of jeans for like $100, by the end of the year with interest, that same jean is worth like $200 because I have to pay the card and I'm paying interest on the card. So really not understanding the game. Now, when I understand the game now, right, I'm teaching this stuff right now to you guys, and I'm going to teach the same thing to my kids. Like before I go buy the clothes and the shoes and the stuff that I want, guess what? I'm going to take that credit card, I'm going to flip it 300 times. I'm going to take those credit and flip them and make money. And then from the money they bring back now, I'm going to pay those credit card off. And then I'm going to take the profit and buy those other things instead of directly go and spend the credit card into buying things that are liabilities for yourself. So I wanted to explain this concept with you. Hopefully that stuff is making sense to you. Let me know if that stuff is making sense to you right now. Here's what I'm gonna do, guys. I have a Facebook group called Monetize Your Brand, where I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna give you different tips. This is one of the tips that I wanted to share with you, the tip on the credit card and scaling your business, using credit as an asset. Build your credit. If you don't know how to build your credit, I have some blueprints on how to build your credit and scale your business. Get inside of the group. You're gonna see a link in the description of this video. You can get to the Facebook group where we keep the conversation going. Okay, we keep the conversation going inside of the Facebook group, and you can ask me questions. If you have any questions, you can drop it on the video. But this is the big difference between asset and liabilities. And if you want to grow, you want to have your freedom, you want to focus on getting assets, use leverage credit, get assets, and then let your assets pay back the creditor, and then take the profit, build and get liabilities with the profit. Don't take directly your main money and just go blow it on stuff. Then every week you'll be broke. Like I had a friend of mine, I remember, like every week he'll be going and go to the club, spending money, and he's working a regular job, and it's like, dude, like you get paid on Friday. By the time Friday night is over, you already spent all your money in the club, and now you gotta wait 2 weeks again to get paid. That money you just spent will never make you any money back. So you gotta get your priorities right. You gotta get the concept of investing right, using your credit to leverage yourself and get your game to a whole next level. All right, guys, just wanted to share this stuff with you. Hope this stuff is making sense. What's up? Let me see if I can see anybody on the live. Let's see, $500. Would the payment of $500 be a one-time on the, someone said, let's get social info says that, would the payment of $500 be a one-time trade line or a monthly recurring fee for a trade line? No. So if you have credit cards, let's say you have 4 or 5 credit cards, you build them, right? You've been paying them on time every month. you've been making your payment on time. Now someone else can pay you a one-time fee. Like they'll pay you a one-time fee to add them on the card. You can keep them for 1 month. Some people keep them for 2 months. So you give them a trade line, you keep them for 1 month. Then what's gonna happen? The credit is gonna shoot up because now they're gonna have the history, and they're also going to have the credit payment of you paying your credit on time history. That's gonna be added to their credit, and now their credit is gonna shoot up. And now they're gonna be able to apply for their own credit card, or maybe they're trying to get a house loan or auto loan or something like that. And that's how they're gonna pay you. So once they get their auto loan, like most people, they start building their credit or something like that. They don't need the boost after, once they get whatever they need. Now, if you wanna do a recurring way with somebody, what I would recommend you to do is that having access to people that needs credit. Like if you have a Facebook group where you're building credits, where people need credits, if you have someone that works into the car industry where they know they get access to people every single day who comes to buy a car, and their credit is not good enough to get the car, literally you can make a deal with those people and they can give trade lines for you. Now, if you know someone that owns a car dealership, remember, they're getting clients every day. They're getting people every day. And when they fill out their car application, denied. And the reason they get denied is because they don't have good credit. And one of the ways for them to boost their credit is to get a trade line. So you can even do a partnership with someone. If you build your credit, you get a stack of credit card. You know how to use them. You can find someone that has a dealership, a private dealership, a privately owned dealership. You make a deal with them, and you can add users and just kill it that way. There's so many different ways that you can leverage this, but really taking it to your whole next level. What's up, Olaf? How you doing, bro? You hope I'm doing great. I'm doing absolutely awesome, amazing, brother. Thanks for checking on me. But for those of you that's watching, go to monetizeyourbrand.group. You can add yourself to our Facebook group. This is where I'm gonna share with you different strategy to grow your brand, different strategy to make millions of dollars. If you want to take your game to a whole next level and make millions of dollars online with your brands, I'm going to be sharing the strategies in there and how we've been able to do that now, and credit card game is one of the ways to get it. So just wanted to share those tips with you, and you can go out there and implement them yourself. All right. Appreciate you guys for coming on the live. It was your boy Cater. I'll see you guys later.